Hi, Skip here. I wanted to do. I wanted to take a minute and share something with you because this is an area that you just don't. You never hear about it. There's a great saying, Dr. Stephen Covey in Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Begin with the end in mind. There's so many. I want to think about this. Just it's all going to become relevant to you, I'm certain. But think about this for just a second. Let's say that you want to build a house. What do you start with? Where do you start? Do you start framing? Well, if you really think about it, that's not a very good place to start because you're going to need a foundation. You're going to need a foundation, and ultimately, really, there's going to be, in the end analysis, there's going to be a purpose or a reason, a result from what you've built. There's going to be a reason for the home. There's going to be a use for it. There's things that surround that. And so you've got to go all the way back to the beginning, and it's not just building a foundation, but it has to do with the planning. I'm going to add another little adjunct here, and all of this will make sense. So stick with me. And by the way, this is one of those little videos that may be helpful to even take notes because I'm going to point out some really crucial things here. So if you don't mind, take notes. And you can always stop, write, begin, and do whatever you need to get the information. But you start with an idea, a thought. You start with perhaps a need, and you evaluate that need and what is it going to take to fulfill the need. So it's all the pre-thought that goes into the planning. You don't even start planning until you've really solidified the motivation, the fundamental motivation for why you're going to do this, why you're going to build this house. By the way, this is all going to relate to marketing in a very powerful way. So hang in there with me. So you start with what is the initial motivation for building this house. You're going to need some tools as a part of it, and along the way, you're going to need not only the tools, but you're going to need how to use them. I used to do a little bit of carpentry, and I love that stuff, but it takes a little time to learn how to join two pieces of wood together. Simple joinery is what it's referred to. And how do you join two pieces of wood together to make them really stick and hang in there for the long term? They don't just fall apart. So there's part of this whole process is to have or employ the training, whatever. There's a lot of elements that go into finally building something. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. What's the initial motivation? And I'm going to break this down two ways. Your initial motivation may be that you're just inspired. You have an idea and what you want to do with this home, and you're excited about it, and how you're going to invite people in, and where it's going to be, and access to other things. And there's this whole litany of things that you're excited about. And so your motivation is very good. But let's flip it over to another motivation. Let's just say that your circumstances dictate that you have to have a house. And all you're thinking about is you have to have shelter, you have to have a house, you're motivated, you have to have something that's not going to cost too much. You've got all the elements that surround a specific situation, and the situation dictates what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And I think you can already imagine that there's a difference in the outcome in the end result. There's a difference between how was it motivated. If it's motivated with a whole great big, a litany of expectations, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. There's features and things you're going to want to have in the house. There's a certain vision of it, and there's certain elements you're going to make sure that you incorporate this process, as opposed to having a need, a circumstance that dictates this is what I have to have happen, and so you build what is ultimately minimal to get the job done because you're not thinking in the bigger picture. Am I making sense? So you plan it out, and then you build a foundation, and you build, there's a process for doing this. Once you build the foundation, then you do the framing, and you do the electrical, and you partition off the rooms, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until finally you have a home. So all those things need to be part of the plan, and it's all going to take a certain amount of time. Now let's relate that to marketing for just a moment. Are you marketing? Are you going into an extra stream of income or just a basic stream of income because you have to have money? Are you motivated by a situation that dictates I've got to do something? I'm in trouble. I'm having challenges, and I need to do something to create what it is I need in an income. Versus I'm inspired. I'm excited. I want to do something that's going to be really powerful, and I'm confident. I'm confident, and I want this. I want to build something that's going to be long lasting, and it's going to be good income, and I can make a difference in this world, and on and on and on. When we write down to the basics of it, you've got these two issues. Are you inspired with a whole bunch of ideas and creativity and confidence and excitement about what you're doing, or are you just in a situation where you're in a bind? You got to have a house. You've got to have a result. You've got to have an income, etc. So where you start in the process is critical. Here's why I'm touching on this, is because when you get into online marketing and you get into using the internet to really build something, the majority of people, the vast majority, start out and they don't even think about what is their motivation. That's not their mindset. That's not what they're thinking. That's not the perspective they're coming from. They're coming from a perspective, most of them, as they want to generate income. And so they go out there and they take the shortcuts. And do they take the time to train and use the tools they've been given to really make sure that what they put together is going to stay together for a long-term value? Think long-term. Begin with the end in mind. What is the result? Am I going to have something that's going to be residual income that's going to last me the rest of my life, that I can really work on and build and have time and financial freedom? Is that going to be the end result I really achieve? Or am I just looking for the, just down the road, and am I going to be able to make some money right now? Big difference in your mindset. What's interesting is the end result is the product of your mindset when you started. It is, if you're coming from a place of desperation, it's going to reveal itself throughout the process, and you're going to be far less effective. It's one of the reasons that people engage in new businesses and startups, and they never make it, because they're thinking in terms of a short term, going to make some money, and then they get frustrated because it's not happening quite the way they'd like to, and they drop out. But if you've got a bigger picture in mind and you're willing to take the time to train and learn and prepare and build on something and have something long term and residual income, free time and financial freedom and all those things, that's the end result. You're willing to take a little more time and become independent and strong. You're not going to depend on everybody else. You're going to know what it is you do. You're going to have confidence. And confidence builds this whole different emotional base. And that is what actually then transfers into the action you take to build whatever it is you're building. And in this case, if you're building a business. So there's steps that you take. You start with an inspiration. You start with the idea that I want to do this and I want to do it right and I want to help a lot of other people. In order to help a lot of other people, I have to know something. I have to have something concrete of my own to offer. I can't take any shortcuts. And so you're going to learn to do it right. And so you're inspired. Your emotions are good. You're up. And now the actions that you take are going to be consistent with that, and you're going to advertise and market and do whatever it is you're doing consistent with that mindset, and the end result that you're going to have something awesome and long-term residual income, for example. As opposed to jumping in and just going for it. Try this, try that. This failed, that failed, this failed. I'm discouraged, and you walk away and nothing happens. So you can get on a short road that's a dead end thing, or you can take the time to say, wait a minute, I got a vision here. I know where I want to end up. I'm going to figure out what it's going to take to get there, all the elements in between, and I'm going to take a little bit of time and build something that's going to have value to it. That's real. That's just real. Not very many places that you're going for training in online marketing are giving you any of that. You go on, and most places where they're offering training and a trick for this and a software solution for that, they're without understanding any of the preliminaries that you have to consider before you ever get there. So what they're doing, in a sense, is they're saying, we're going to start throwing up a frame. We're going to throw up a frame, and we're going to throw up a few rooms here and whatnot. They're way ahead of themselves. They haven't planned out all the elements. They're only giving you what you need to fulfill their need and get you involved and get your money. That's what they're doing. But what if you had a training program that fit that entrepreneurial spirit that said, I'm going to do something long-term that's solid. I'm going to learn the basics. I'm going to step through. I'm going to learn how to plan. I'm going to learn all the elements I need. I'm going to have confidence and strength going into it. And I'm going to have something in the end that's incredibly worthwhile, long-term. That's the thinking. And that's what I wanted to introduce to you in this video, that thinking, and that thinking just permeates the 4% program and how you approach things. And it applies then to whatever marketing effort you're doing. And particularly, I've been focusing a lot on those who are in network marketing. These principles apply to all of it, any kind of marketing. But network marketing particularly, because there's a new trend that says I can build this thing faster and bigger and better if I take a little bit of time, lay the groundwork, the foundation. What do I want to do in the end? Do I want to become a leader and be strong in what I do? If that's the case, then you take that course that says, I'm not going to just take the shortcuts. I'm going to do this right. I'm going to take the steps. I'm going to learn how to do it. And I'm going to build something that's going to be a long-term, lasting residual income. That's the difference. So that's where a little bit more on the merging of the two mega trends. I'll be talking a lot about that, and I hope to someday have contact with you. With that, there'll be a lot more. This is just basic stuff, but there'll be a lot more. So God bless, and we'll see you in another video here. Thanks.